Welcome back to the show. I'm Dan Edwards with Seattle's Eastside Real Estate Team's podcast, and we are welcoming. Um, it's Meena. I'm gonna actually. She said I can say Meena for short. Meena Singh with let's see with Revive Physical Therapy. Meena has been helping people in chronic unexplained pain get better and return to an active lifestyle. Please join me in welcoming Meena to the show. Welcome, Meena.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me here.
I
It's,
pride
it's,
myself in not screwing up people's names, and I apologize for doing it. I apologize profusely for doing it profusely.
it's
Sorry about
okay. It's just Meenakshi.
that. All right. So, talk to me about what it is you do, Mina.
I'm a physical therapist, and I have worked in traditional physical therapy for around 15 years. And I started doing myofascial release, which is John Barnes myofascial release, just a couple years back. And I'm having a very good results with all my patients. So now I practice that mainly, but I still give them some exercises, and I help people with chronic pain and women's health patients, like people who have pelvic pain, incontinence, back, hip, knee pain, diastasis recti, which is separation of abdominal muscles, prolapse, and scar release, even pain with intercourse. So people don't realize there are so many, like there are muscles in your pelvic bowl too, and if they are not working like the other group of muscles in our body, they can create some problems as well. So those are pelvic health problems, and I help people with those problems as well.
So that's really interesting. So my mom is actually a physical therapist as well, but this is a very narrow scope that you're looking at, and you said it's myofascial. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Myofascial release, that is one of the component. When I do the women's health, that is one of the component for sure. But we all have our own set of problems because of the posture, or it can be some restrictions, because when we go through life, we all have had falls as a kid, a baby, or while we were getting birth, we have our traumas, and which we never come to know until we are adult, and then we start having problems. So I find the root cause of the problem and not just treat the symptom. And that is how I work. I see the body as a whole, not just a part.
Right.
Which
So
has a problem.
so a lot of people will say, I'm just getting old. I just have these aches and pains. They're normal. What would you say?
When you are growing old, definitely your joints are changing, like they are getting arthritic, but the muscles around them are, and the fascia around them. So when I say I do myofascial release, I work with fascia, which is a connective tissue, three-dimensional from head to toe. And people don't realize when we are getting old, that fascia is getting tighter and tighter. And when it is getting restricted and tight, it can put 2,000 pounds of pressure in a very small area in your body. And it is like a lot of pressure for a certain area. So if that is happening, it will create so much problems in that particular area. And because it is age, with age, that restriction is progressing. So that is why you are having more problems. It is not just age, it is just the something in your body which was supposed to be taken care of. It was never taken care of, and now it is
Okay.
causing you problems. So I would say if we can take care of the muscle and fascia around the joint, we can stop the progression of the joint arthritis and everything. Like I would say prevent the progression, not stop the progression. That will keep going, but at least we can have patient to be not in that much pain, and be active still, with even with whatever has already happened. Like some people have already had surgeries, so they have more fascial restrictions, and they had like some people have been in a lot of motor vehicle accidents, and they have their own traumas in the life, and that causes a lot of restrictions in our body. um,
Okay. So John Barnes myofascial release, is that similar to massage or physical therapy techniques?
So it is very different than massage for sure. In massage, it is like a lot of constant moving around. And when I do, I put like I stay in one of the area where I feel is the restriction present, and then I stay in that area and I hold the pressure for a while, and that is how I get to the fascia, because fascia is like a three-dimensional, and it's not just superficial fascia, there is a deep fascia too. So to get to that level, you have to stay in that position. So with massage, you're constantly moving, so you don't get to the fascia level to move the restriction. So with massage, you temporarily feel good, but with MFR, once you start changing the fascia, you start feeling the changes in your body, and it's like you get to the root cause of the problem. And so it is
What is one of the most common things you work on?
most common, I would say, back pain, low back pain, and hip pain.
Okay. And how
And
long do you usually work with a client, and how is it traditional than how is it different than a traditional physical therapy clinic?
so, in traditional physical therapy, I would say they do more of exercises and maybe some of manual. With me, I do a lot of manual. So, for my NR session, it's mostly 45, 50 minutes of manual, which is a very gentle technique. Nothing is like which people will be in pain while I'm doing technique with them. It's very gentle and it works better than what I used to do when I used to work in traditional physical therapy. So that is the part which I feel patient likes too, because it gives them the result, the hope of being pain free and being able to get back to active lifestyle. So that is. And did you ask me another question? I
How is it different than traditional? Uh,
Yeah, that is what I was saying, because I do more of manual and less of like I do give them self-care techniques because it is part of teamwork where I work with them and I give them some exercises at the end of the session which they need to do, and it's not necessarily exercise, it's a self-care technique which they learn eventually to take care of themselves without needing me as part of their care. So I treat patients for 6 to 12 visits mainly, and sometimes people get better fast, but I still want them to get to the best of their ability so they don't have to come back to me and they can stay pain free and
so
get
is
back
it
to that.
something that is like you said, that 6 to 8 things and then you're done, or is there like a maintenance level that's necessary for somebody that's more athletic or somebody that has chronic problems? How do you what's your philosophy there?
So, with my philosophy, I would say it is better to stay in maintenance where I will, like, once people are pain free, just for it to not come back, because sometimes people have had chronic pain for years and they do get better, and then they get better to a certain level, but then they have to go to the next level where they are pain free, but they can still do the things they were avoiding to do. And so many people, they don't get to that level. So I would say once I've taken them to the level, because it is their goal ultimately what they want to do, once they have reached their goal, I ask them to come once a month, or like instead of coming twice a week or once a week, it will be once a month for maintenance, and that really takes care of them from keeping meaning to come back to me, like for the future problems. So it takes care of the problem from coming back then. So it is more of prevention than helping them when they are in pain.
Okay. And then what's kind of an example of a recent success story that you had with one of your patients?
So I have a lot of success story, but I would say I have a patient who had pelvic pain, and she had stopped doing like her whatever exercises she was doing, and pelvic pain is the like pain inside in the bottom, and so I assessed her and I knew what was going on, and she it was coming from her posture, like where she was doing something regularly, so I had to tell her not to do that, and that was one part of it. And
Uh-huh.
then there was sometimes the muscles are not working in coordination, some muscles are working more than the others, so we took care of that. And then I when because I, as a part of women's health therapist, I go internally where I go and do the internal work, and I release the areas which were getting tight on the same side of her pelvic, where the pelvic pain was there. And so she's now pain free, and she is almost to the point where she's going to get back to whatever she was doing. She went to the zoo last week and she was saying, "Oh, I walked uphill without pain," and she couldn't do that without pain before.
Oh, that's awesome, Mina. Yeah. So, from a standpoint of A, noticing that here's the posture problem that you have, B, here's the tightness that needs to be, and then the real work. So, it's a combination of those things. That's
Combination.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So, if somebody's looking to contact you, how do they get in touch with you for your services?
So I have Instagram and Facebook page with Revive Physical Therapy, and my website is reviveptmfr.com, and they can directly reach me at 678-429-6435. And and they can just call me or text me at this number, and that's how they can reach me.
Yeah, I think we have your website here. Revive M
Physical-
Revive PTMFR. And
Yes,
this video will have a link to this website. So
yes,
um, basically you can reach out and check about your availability
yes.
on the website.
And this is directly connected to my electronic medical record I use. So once they click on something, it comes to me as a request, and I approve it, and then they can get to. But if they have any question, they can reach out to me at that number 678-429-6435, and I would be happy to help get them better.
Awesome. Meena, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan.